I'm just curious, as a vet on this team, when you see just this record at 2-7, you guys have been here before. How do you guys try to process just kind of how, the execution may not be where you want it to be, and you guys are a similar result to where you are last season, being 2-7?
Yeah, it hurts. I think everybody in the locker room is pretty upset. I feel like going back to the off-season program, the training camp, I felt like we really built a strong brotherhood and culture throughout this locker room. And for us to be sitting the same spot we were last year is not where we wanted to be, not where we thought we would be. It hurts. Still got half the season left to go. The guys in this building on this offense and defense, this team, we're fighters, so we're going to keep going. There's some tough dudes in here, and we're just going to stay after it day by day, and at the end of it, we'll see what happens, but everybody's going to keep giving their best effort.
We also talked to some guys about just Jackson, how he's handled this. Just what have you seen, just how he's processing some of this? Obviously, you guys said he's a gamer, he's tough, but how is this wearing on him, and how are you seeing him just kind of respond to that?
Yeah, Jackson's been unbelievable for us. The energy, the enthusiasm, the leadership, just in the building every single day, and then everybody kind of sees, what they see on Sunday out of him. But he's so consistent. He's on top of everything. It really hurts me to see him, such a young player in this league, take these losses to heart so hard, because he is, the quarterback of this team, and he feels like it is his fault. But he's got people around him to support him. He's got a team around him, and we do everything we can to help lift him up, because he likes to think that this is all his fault, and we try to reassure him that it's not. We're all in this together. But he's a leader, and he believes that, and he does not like to lose. He's not used to losing. He has said that. So for him, going through this losing stretch, it's not normal for him. He doesn't like it. He's sick about it, and do everything we can to keep supporting him, keep him on this track, because I feel like he's got a bright future.
Thanks, John.
Yeah.
Paul Schwartz.
Hey, John.
Hey there.
Hey, couple of things. First of all, Jackson for the first time heard after the game questions about his head coach's job security, and that's something that veterans sometimes, or rookies, hear this time of year when the team's not doing well. How does that play in the locker room? When that infiltrates the locker room, you start hearing stuff like that.
Yeah, I myself and a bunch of the other guys, I can mainly only really speak for the offensive line, because that's the group that I'm with the most for the most part of the day. But we try not to pay attention to anything that's out there. We are a really tight knit unit. We're going to stick together. Anything else external outside the building, pressures, talking about whatever's going on, with our team, that's for other people to talk about. We don't look at that as, something we're worried about. We're not worried about who we're playing in 3 weeks from now. We're not worried what, the state of the organization is going to look for now. We're worried about this game we got coming up, going back, looking over the San Fran tape, and now going forward playing Chicago. So that's not really like a thought for me, for offensive line, for offense at all, about who's going to be, who's going to be in the building, who's not going to be building. Stuff changes with players and everything every single week. So, this league is very fluid. However it shapes up, that's not up to me. That's not my decision. So I don't put any mind to it. And we're still going to go out there and play with, our coaches and, our guys that we have out there, and we're going to play hard.
Thank you. One more. You mentioned about, the culture and the brotherhood that you felt was built this summer.
Yeah.
And you could feel the feeling this summer that things were going to be different.
Yeah.
And does this feel the exact same as last year? 2-7 is literally the exact same record. Does it feel the exact same?
Yeah. It's the exact same record. I'd say it does feel a little different. Losing, two of our best playmakers on offense, kind of being all over the place with that. And then, defense, ton of injuries, in that aspect with the injuries, it kind of feels the same. But I feel like guys have really kind of developed stronger bonds with each other this year and able to stick together. So, I feel like we've, as offense and defense, we've been in so many more games than we were last year. And it's, when it gets late in the fourth quarter, being able to pull those things out. And that's where we got to start to, really improve and, finish these games off when we have them in our hand. And we haven't done that a couple of times this year. And the record, yes, is the same, but I don't feel if the vibe is the same as last year.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Last one, Tom Rock.
Jon, you touched on it a little bit there, but what needs to change? I mean, you've been part of winning programs in the NFL and in college. Why isn't it working here, and what needs to be done to fix it?
Yeah, that's definitely the big question. I think if we were able to pinpoint what that would be, we'd be in a lot better place. Speaking, from offensive line perspective, from my own individual perspective, I feel like we have been a pretty solid, consistent group, and I feel like we have done some good things. I feel like we've fallen short in some spots, but for us, the offensive line, I feel like we've been good. We're solid. We got to do better. The point where we're at in the season, where the season's going right now in direction, like we're doing enough, to put ourselves in position to win games, but I feel like we're not doing enough to take over the games, and put that confidence in, the coaches and the rest of the team to, call more run plays and, move the ball down the field. And then when we start establishing that run, throwing off of that, and, that's what Jackson does best. So I feel like we got to take games over more from offensive line perspective, and that'll put a lot more confidence in a lot other people. I feel like for me personally, that's where it could start, building that confidence that these coaches and these players know that they can depend on us even more from where we're at now, and we got to step up and meet that expectation if we're going to set that standard.
I know you probably don't. You look at it as week to week, game to game, and sort of break it up like that. But it's hard to not go back to after 3 quarters in Denver where you were to compare to where you are now. Do you feel like if it almost feels like that collapse never really stopped? In that game, can you connect those dots or no?
I don't think they could fully be connected. I think there might be a little truth to that. Really, we've had a couple really close. I think back to the Dallas game. I think to the New Orleans game. I think to the Denver game. And I felt like, the first Eagles game, that was kind of like a really high point for us. And we pulled that out, and then going to play at Philly, and I kind of felt like there's a little energy sucked out of us when, our best player went down at midfield. And I felt like that kind of really hurt, really shook a lot of guys, unfortunately. And I feel like the wind, it kind of took the wind out of our sails, unfortunately. But that's how this league is. It's brutal. It's you got to keep going after witnessing something like that, and it's tough. Those are the times where you got to come together as as teammates and as brothers, and get this stuff fixed out, because going out there and kind of putting out the performance we had as a team, seeing the San Fran fans all packing the stadium, it's kind of, I felt embarrassed leaving the field, and that's not really a feeling you want to have, leaving your own home stadium.